What's happening, gamers? It's K Mega 405 coming to you live from the 405 where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Be so kind to hit that subscribe button, the like button, and also, man, share this out, man. Let people know about this and hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think. Basically, uh, I'm one of those people that speaks my mind. I'm very opinionated, and but by no means I try to be hateful or try to make people think that their thought process of what they believe in is wrong, unless it's if it's overblown crazy fanboy stuff or just being overly negative about everything. Because those are the two things to me that bothers me about what's going on within gaming, especially here lately, when there's so much crazy cool stuff that's coming out and that's been available for the last couple of years. And then stuff that's coming out here coming up in the next year and I'm just kind of like, this is the best time right now. It's kind of like our Christmas, and we have months of just content and everything else to come out. So I'm just so excited about that. But those are the couple of two things that kind of bothers me. Other than that, everything, opinion is opinion, and I'm very opinionated. So here we go. So let's talk about this. The Ubisoft confirms. Well, this is what this statement says. It says Ubisoft confirms Assassin's Creed Valhalla is running at 4K 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. Now, all right, let's go straight down to the nitty gritty. Let's see, where we go. All right, right here. Now it says right here. It says this is coming from Ubisoft, I guess a spokesman or whatever, and it says currently we can guarantee that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at least 30 frames per second. I will read this one more time. Currently, we can guarantee that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at least 30 frames per second. Then it gets into the hoopla of being, part of the just the corporate spiel because it's it's a third marketing situation with Microsoft, so it's over here kissing Microsoft's ass. But other than that, this is the thing. It says currently at this point in time, so it's like, hey, it's running 30 frames per second steady. Don't have to have no worries about that. And all of a sudden, since this got out, here comes everybody blowing their top, just like the other day about the inside of Xbox and just about the whole Last of Us thing. Now, listen, I have my thoughts and opinions about each situation, good or bad. But again, this is another thing where people are taking things way out of proportion. They say right here at the bottom, it says we will have a lot more to show you about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It says right here in the near future, so stay tuned for more information. We're months away from seeing what they're going to do. There could be a whole bunch of different factors in with it as well. So let's just say hypothetically that it is going to be 30 frames per second instead of 60 on on both consoles, because I think that's what one thing that um, PlayStation guys, they're over here pointing the finger and laughing, but then yet they know in the back of their mind exactly that the PlayStation 5 is going to be playing Valhalla at 30 frames per second as well. It's not going to have any more enhancements. Them SSDs is not going to give them anything any faster. So except for maybe the load times. And so basically, this is the thing right here. I, I'm not going to try to knock anybody's opinion on 30 frames, 60 frames. I've had plenty of discussions talking about this. I mean, from having the discussions about this with Fonzarelli to talking about it with Don and Xbot and just so many other people about it, especially amongst in the social media. And there's people that don't care, and there's people that do care. And this is what I've always said. Games like sports games, fighters, shooters, racers have to be 60 frames per second for it to even be possibly good, especially running on the hardware that it's running on right now. And so if this was um, the Crew 3 and they say that it's got to be 30 frames per second, then that's a fail. That's an absolute fail. Don't care how big and immersive and beautiful that the game looks, it's still a racer, and racers need to actually have a game to feel like you're actually racing and in the sense of speed and things like that. 30 frames per second is not going to cut it for that. With adventure games, though, for me, single player adventures, uh, it doesn't bother me. It just don't. I know that some people will say, well, no, it's a lot better. I got it. I got a PC that can run, games that does run all my games now at 60 frames per second. You know what I'm saying, even higher. So it's not like I don't understand or don't know what how it feels or things like that. But when I play it on my console, right? This is the thing for me. I always pick the dynamic, you know, and I hope that if it is 4K 30, I hope they have two different modes, just kind of like Tomb Raider and other games out there that has a dynamic mode and a resolution mode, because I think that's only fair if you can't achieve the 4K 30 or the 4K 60 like so many people are expecting because of the hardware situation. And also, there's another point that's in here as well, where it says, right here it says, this is perhaps a bit unsurprising, as even the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, capable of 13.45 T-flops, can't really get locked 60 frames per second at 4K resolution with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, at least with max settings enabled. So, and this is the thing too, is that it's not saying that this not going to that that it's not going to achieve some higher frame rates. But Odyssey is an enormous, insanely big game. It is crazy big. It is bigger than The Witcher 3. It is bigger than Red Dead Redemption 2. It is a massive game. It's probably, ooh, let's think about it. If we want to be realistic, I think probably Assassin's Creed Odyssey is probably one of the biggest games that I've ever played in my entire life. It is a monster. Put well over 400 hours into that game. Still have more to go. I beat the game, but I still have some more DLC to beat. Just, just ridiculously big. And so it was good to hear that Valhalla was going to be a lot smaller. A lot smaller. They were going to focus more on visuals, things like that. So for me, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see more of. I want to see more of what what new abilities and things like that are you enhancing in the game. Now, again, people would say, well, 60 frames would make it even better. There's a lot of other things, and it says this too in this article as well. And I posted this on Twitter. I talked about this well. See, this is where we're going to start have to separate uh, and I hate to say it this way, but the haves and the have-nots. Um, People have to have proper monitors, proper televisions, in order to get the best performance out of these games, and especially coming out of the gate. So you're gonna have these consoles, and then you're gonna have to have you can't do it with a 1080p television and then bitch about 30 frames per second, 30 60 frames per second, to really utilize for everything about the HDR, uh, you know, everything else that's within these games, and what these new technologies with ray tracing and all this stuff will do. Um, Basically, right here it says, the it is also possible Ubisoft could simply opt to add an unlock frame rate option, since the Xbox Series X supports variable refresh rate, and an increasing number of HDMI VRR enabled televisions and displays are now on the market. This should guarantee a smoother experience, even if Assassin's Creed Valhalla can't get a proper 60 frames per second implementation. And that is exactly the point that I was going to make on right here before I read that. And well, I seen that, and then I was reading it to you guys. It's basically, look, it's that's the reason why I bought the television that I did, and that's why, because when I play, I don't. I can my television can do the performance mode for me. I want to see what the game can do for me. I want to see the dynamic mode. I want to see these colors pop. I want to see everything just right in my face and just get immersed into that single player experience. I want to see the best looking game that I can see possible. Frames per second is cool, but like that's why I got the television that I got, and that's what I think a lot of people's going to have to understand with monitors, especially PC guys, if they got these high-end, super high-end. I know there's a lot of people that make these accusations that they have, so they just built one right from the lab. They paid a good 10,000, 20,000 for their PC, and it's ready to do anything. It can make a motion picture right now. They can make a movie right now on their PC if they want to. But the reality is that they probably got not even they probably just got a laptop. You know what I'm saying? An old Dell laptop that that can't even play any games. But regardless of whatever, right? The thing of it is that you're gonna have to get these items. I used to argue with my boy Xbot all the time about, man, like if you see this game like that, you have to get you a 4K television. No, my 1080p is doing good, man. I see the difference. Yeah, I do too. When I before I got my 4K Elgato, I had to use the old school Elgato and the 1080p 60 Elgato, and yeah, it looked great. But when you sit here and you actually see 4K games with HDR, and then you have the V Sync and the VRR. It's bro, it is insane, and you have no tearing. It's smooth. It's That's why I'm saying like it's there's so many other options that could be available. Now, of course, nobody's building money. I'm not either. It's just that I know that for what that I want, that there's things that I know I have to sacrifice other things in order for me to get these things. And I know that not everybody can get these type of televisions or monitors, but if this is an option that they're using right now, starting off into going into the generation, I'm not mad about it. I really am. I'm not because I'm never the frame rate thing has never been an issue with me with single player games. Only with it comes with shooters and fighters and racers and sports games. That's just it's always been me. And so again, like I said, I'm not trying to say anybody's wrong, but if anybody that has my stance on this, they're not wrong either. I think that the best possible way, if it's not going to be 4060 at all, is have a dynamic and have a performance mode just like they do with everything else. Give the gamers the option. Give them 1440p 60. That's still gonna look beautiful. That's still gonna look good. So they don't have to really worry about that. I understand the 4K 60, but it's just like what it said in the beginning. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the 2080 Ti, you know what I'm saying? It's more powerful than the Series X that's going to be coming out, and it still can't push certain games at those frames per second rates. So I think people just have to relax, wait until what's going on, what's to see, before we start getting really crazy into it. And then I got one more other thing to say. Well, I guess I say it too. One real brief. It's basically the point of ray tracing. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me if I'm kind of catching myself because my wife made me a delicious pot roast with all the fixings, and boy, I'm over here feeling like Biggie when he's laid back in that video where he's bringing like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, boy. I'm feeling good, boy. I'm full as hell. I should have did this video before then, but anyway. So the thing of it is with ray tracing. Now, it didn't say in this article right here that the ray tracing was even because it wasn't talked about right in here. And that to me would probably be the most. To me, now that would be the most disappointing. I don't. I mean, look, the 3060 thing. TV can handle that for my end. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not like I saying I'm not trying to downplay anybody's television or monitors or anything like that. But I'm just saying for me, I'm not tripping about it, but I am going to trip about the ray tracing. Now, the console is both these consoles are supposed to, is supposed to have ray tracing. I mean, PlayStation, not supposed, they do. They both have this ray tracing. So you need to implement it. Now, if they have something to where later on down the line where they have it enhanced, where they'll do some enhancements, and they're just trying to get this game out before launch, probably around October, September or October, and they just kind of want to get the game out, and then later on they'll have a patch later within the year. I ain't gonna trip about that because I want the ray tracing, and ray tracing could also be another thing of why that game isn't hitting at 60 frames per second especially knowing if you have an RTX graphics card, uh, with Minecraft and with a couple other games, them frame rates drop, Jack. They drop. I've even heard some people say that some of the games have dropped to like 15, 20 frames per second. That whole Microsoft, I said the Minecraft thing, it dropped for me. It was at 50, and then it dropped to like 35, and I was like, Argh. And then it went back, it smoothed back out to 40, 45, but it never got to 60. It never got back to 50. So it's one of those things where this new technology, people got to figure it out, what's going on, how it works, and that's going to take a little time. I think where all this stuff is going to shine with the 4K 60 on both of these consoles is going to be with the first party. That's another thing that needs to be addressed is that the third party is doing this. This is the responsibility of PlayStation or Xbox. They're just doing the marketing deals. This is what Ubisoft has decided to do. And I feel that it's unfortunate for people to say that they're not going to purchase the game because of this. Because if you look at it from a business aspect, you know what I'm saying, and this is a question that I'm asking to everybody that listens to this video. Let's say that you're a person that has a stake into this game, that you've helped build this game, whatever, whatever, whatever. Uh, and the new consoles are coming out. Um, are you going to make that game primarily only for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X? Or would you make it for everything? Because how many we don't even know how many consoles do you think is going to sell in the next 2 months when both of those consoles drop, when they launch, if they launch at the regular time that they're supposed to, or if it's delayed or whatever because of the pandemic or whatever. How many consoles do you think is going to be sold within that first 2 to 3 months? It's surely not going to be as many consoles that's out there in the wild right now for this gen. Not even close. So why would it be? You know what I'm saying? Why is it economically smart for Ubisoft to exclude hundreds, what I'm saying, hundreds of millions of gamers that has access to consoles right now that can get a hold of the game compared to you know, gamers that so for new console gamers that will probably be no more than maybe 10 million in the next 2 months. Maybe within maybe it might get around 15 in 2 months. I don't see it going any higher than that. Now, if the prices, and that's something else that I want to talk about. I'll talk about that in another video. But if the prices is right, then hey, then the sky's the limit. That's a whole other topic. But for this right here, I just find it to be a little bit challenging. That people are still going. It's taking this way to the next level. I mean, there's screw Ubisoft. There's I'm not buying another Ubisoft. I mean, I've seen read comments that's just like, what in the world? It's not that. It is it's a thing to where if you're upset about it, I get it, but it doesn't need to be this negative. Not everything needs to be this negative. I find it to be ridiculous, to be honest with you. So anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts about everything. This is pretty interesting though. I definitely there's a lot of questions to be asked, and there's still plenty of time before these consoles are coming out and before all these games get to come out. So maybe things get fixed, maybe not. If you are interested in looking in for televisions and things like that, make sure that you make sure you check out for the HDR10, but also the other new enhancements with the VRR enhancements. Also, make sure that the HDMI is 2.1, stuff like that, and VSync as well. Try to look at for all that for your TVs and monitors. That will definitely make a difference with your games, even for games that are out right now and for games that will come up in the future. And make sure you check out for the 120 hertz or higher television. 60 hertz is cool, but the higher the hertz, the better the performance you can get from your television. So check those things out, man. There's a lot of stuff that I've learned. I got to give a big shout out to my boy 108 Dragons and other people that I've talked to about this, PK Live and others that's helped me out, looking at stuff about televisions and things like that. I mean, I've always been a person that's into electronics, but I haven't really dug in and stuff like that. So big shout out to them. But anyway, everybody have a good one until the next video, which I'm finna probably work on right after I get done with this one. Uh, Talk to you later, man. Everybody.